generally, everybody has a goal. Everybody has a vision. Everybody has, something that they're working towards. But oftentimes, what I feel like people don't really have is a true vision for themselves, how they are when they achieve those goals or when they receive those goals. If you have a desire or mindset to reach a certain kind of lifestyle or live a certain kind of way, have a certain kind of car, you can start to think about getting that car, what it's like to keep that car or keep that lifestyle. But again, I'll say most people don't take the time to think out, visualize, or plan out who they are when they are in that space, when they have the things they're looking for, the things they ask for. And this is one of those times where, or one of those scenarios where we just have to be brutally honest with who we are in ourselves and also what is it going to take for us, or what kind of standards rather do we have to have for ourselves in order to keep the things that we want. And that's why I want to title this video basically a rhetorical question, which is, who are you? Like, who are you? And this is a question that you have to ask yourself when you're looking in the mirror, when it's late at night and you are, laying in bed and thinking about your day, or whenever you take the time to like reflect on yourself and you think about the things that you want in your future, you have to ask that question: who are you? Or who do you want to be? What kind of standards are you going to set for yourself that's going to allow you to take the necessary progress forward to be able to get the things that you're looking for? And it's not always an easy thing. It's not always an easy thing to be honest with yourself in terms of the things that you need or the things that you may lack in order to get where it is that you need to get. But at the same time, those things are usually necessary. That falls under the category of self-awareness. It falls under the category of, discipline and responsibility and things of that nature. And so a lot of times, we find ourselves thinking, it'll be nice when I get this, or nice when I get that, or nice when I achieve the goals that I'm looking for. But again, it's going to take the small details in order to get to where it is that you want to get to. If your life as to how you wanted it to be was considered like a good, glorious, some sort of crazy looking painting, the painting is going to look crazy because of the details in the painting, not just the one big color, one bold color. It's going to have details to it. And just like those details that are in the painting, you have to have those same amount of details addressed in your life on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, in order for you to take the steps necessary, take that one step forward, the second step forward, and continuously take those steps to get to where it is that you want to be. And so, yeah, you have to just continue to address those details. You have to look within yourself. You have to assess who you are. You have to check your own foundations and make sure that everything is right and everything is correct. And I know, a lot of you may have somebody that you want to do well. This could be a friend, a kid, a parent, a cousin, whomever. And you're looking at their lives. You can sit here and point out, every little bit of thing that they're doing wrong, every little bit of thing that if they could just tweak this or tweak that, or do this differently or do that differently, then they'll get to this step, or then they'll achieve what it is that they might say that they want. But the big question is, are you doing that for yourself? You look in the mirror and you see yourself, but are you taking the time to actually visualize who that person is in the mirror a month from now, a few months from now, a few years from now? And if you could look in the mirror and actually look at that person in the future, if that person was the person that has everything that you're asking for, do you think that that person would look at you today and say, you got everything, you're going to go and get it right now? I don't think they would. And the reason why is because there's a certain amount of discipline, a certain amount of adjustments that has to be made in order to continue to make those continuous steps. And if you're one of those people that, just has it perfect, then, that's great for you. Continue doing what you're doing. But for most of us, myself included, we have to have a certain level of discipline for ourselves. We have to have a certain level of attention to detail for ourselves in our own lives to be able to get where it is that we want to get. We have to have a certain sort of standard for ourselves in order to keep pushing towards the type of lifestyle that we want, the type of outcomes that we want, the type of goals that we want. You have to have that. If not anybody else that you're looking at that you want to have that standard for, you have to have that standard for yourself, because at the end of the day, people are going to be able to help you out. Folks can point you to the water to drink. People can tell you what to do to achieve those goals and those outcomes. But if you don't have the discipline to take those steps forward continuously, if you don't have the mindset to get yourself to get up and go and actually do those things, to get off the couch, get out of the bed, whatever, if you don't have the, I guess you could say, tenacity to push forward when everything feels like it's doesn't feel good to do or is not comfortable, then you're just not going to get it. You're just not going to get what it is you're looking for. And that can be tough, for some people who don't want to step outside of their comfort zones. But if you look at people who have been successful in their lives, really successful, and if you were to listen to them in different interviews and different podcasts, whatever, about them taking those steps towards their goals, they'll tell you some of the most craziest, messed up stories about how they were caught in a lifestyle or had to make certain decisions that, quite frankly, most people would never even think to make. But they knew that they had to adjust themselves and take steps that was necessary, not comfortable, but necessary to get to where it is that they want to get to. And so being that person, becoming that person is what it takes. And off on a slight side note as well, when it comes to being that person, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and wake up one day and just become a totally different person. That's not necessarily the case. But what you do have to do is you should look at one thing or two things and say, I need to hard change that. For some, maybe it's how you get up in the morning. For some, maybe it's how you go to sleep at night or how much sleep you're getting. For some, it's how much you're paying attention to social media. You don't really realize how big these little small, minute things can dictate the actions in your life, how getting an extra hour or two of sleep can help you make a smarter decision the next day, or how getting extra sleep at the beginning of the week can help you have energy on a Thursday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, once you get into the long stretches of the week. How getting up in the morning can help set the tone, the pace for the rest of your day, and sometimes going on with the rest of the week. And you have to be able to make those types of decisions consistently and let those decisions compound. And so that one day you wake up and the very things that you seem to struggle on is something that has become, a standard for your day. You don't get your day started without doing A, B, C, and D. You don't go to bed at night before doing A, B, C, and D. And that thing that's way over there allows you to be able to do this thing over here a lot easier. And so I'm being very generalistic and vague about these things because I want it to, I guess you could say, apply to everybody. I want everybody to be able to take these things that I'm saying and relate to them in a way that allows them to say, okay, I could take this and apply it to my own life. And so I don't necessarily know, what everybody's challenges are or the details of their life that they need to address. But again, I do want to say that you have to look within yourself. You have to ask yourself, who you are first and foremost. Where do you want to be? What type of person you want to be in that situation or lifestyle that you have? And then ask yourself, almost as if you're asking somebody else, do you have what it takes to do that right now? If you wanted to be able to, dwell in the lifestyle that you want right now, you think you, as you are right now, can go out and do those things just like that as you are? And I mean, the hard answer to that is honestly no. And it's okay. I mean, it's perfectly fine. But If you come to that conclusion, the next thing is, what are you going to do about it? That's the next thing. What are you going to do about it? And then that's when you start taking those steps. You start looking and saying, okay, what can I do differently here? What can I change here? What can I adjust there? There was something that I had kind of realized back when I was in college, and I found myself, struggling with some of the same things. I felt like too many days had gone by where I felt like I was doing the same things and nothing was changing. And I told myself, I said, okay, if I want to have a different result, I'm going to need to have different actions. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily looking at, who I wanted to be or how I needed to be to get to that kind of space. But I did realize, okay, I want to have different outcomes in the future. And nothing seems to be changing right now around me. So I started doing different things. And when I say different things, I would wake up and just just switch my routine up. The things that I would normally take, I became, I reached this level of self-awareness where I started having an alternative to most of the decisions that I was making on a day-to-day basis. The first thing that came to mind when I would think about eating, waking up, going somewhere, running errands, things I did for leisure like basketball, video games, whatever, I would say, okay, stop. Let me do something different. And the reason why is because I don't necessarily know what I'm supposed to be doing that I think is right, but I do know that what I'm doing right now is not getting what it is that I want. So I have to change something. And I can't necessarily go out and just make a huge change, whatever that may be. I can't go out and just say, I'm going to stop everything and just go in the woods on a hike for like 2 days and then come back different. No, I have to get up and just change the little things that I have to complete and total control over. And that's my day-to-day actions, So my dog is growling. He's about to bark soon. So I guess I'll go ahead and cut this short before too much noise gets involved. But just remember that. Who are you? Look within yourself. Weigh yourself from the standpoint of your own actions. Ask yourself, is my actions today going to allow me to both get and keep the things that I want tomorrow? If that question, or if the answer to that question is no, then you know what to do. Don't be too hard on yourself, but at the same time, be assertive when it comes to you assessing the things that you need to change. And don't be afraid to change them, because that may be who you are today, but it's not who you want to be tomorrow. So there has to be a gap, or there has to be a bridge between how you are now and where you are in the future. So make those changes. Keep those changes. When you feel like you can't, or when you feel like you're struggling to maintain those changes, you have to disassociate yourself from the habits and actions that you were involved in yesterday. You have to tell yourself, this is not me. The things that you have been doing that may be keeping you from what it is you want. This is not me. Me is this person in the future that's doing these things, that's receiving these things, that's living how this or living this type of lifestyle. That's me, not the me that's doing whatever, sitting around, wasting time, spending too much time with friends when your friends aren't necessarily doing anything that's conducive to what you want, conducive to your environment. Not spending so much time watching TV, not spending so much time just scrolling on social media. The person that I'm trying to be, the person that I'm chasing, doesn't do those things. So I can't do those either if I'm trying to become that person that I see that's out there in the future. The person that I look into the mirror and see that is doing these things that I want to be doing, I want to be like that. So I'm going to start doing those things. I'm not going to be doing these other things. And these are things, as I'm saying this right now, I'm pretty much telling myself these things. I'm pretty much, applying these things to myself on a day-to-day basis. And it's not perfect. It's not always consistent, but I'm taking those strides. I'm pushing each and every day, regardless of how hard it is, to be able to get to where it is that I want to get to, step by step, day by day. So ask yourself that. Who are you? Who are you trying to be? Is the person you are today able to just simply achieve that what you're trying to do tomorrow? And if not, you know what to do.